Scholars assumed that the geometric calculations to predict Jupiter's motion were not used until 1400 AD, but the recent discovery has baffled them. So what is that discovery? What made them realize that ancient people were advanced even 2,000 years ago? First, let's talk about the discovery that led scholars to come to crucial conclusions regarding the oldest name. Here we begin. Discovery of tablets. This discovery has piqued public interest by challenging the popular belief that cuneiform tablets are only used for basic accounting, but not for complex astronomical calculations. So what is this discovery? Many media outlets reveal that the Babylonian astronomers were more advanced than any Renaissance-era scholars. This was revealed in the newfound tablets, which contain basic accounting, mundane bookkeeping, to astronomical calculations that predict the motion of Jupiter. This gives us more insight into the life of Mesopotamian civilization. Mesopotamia is a region in Western Asia. Mesopotamian civilization is regarded as one of the earliest civilizations originating between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates. Just like any other civilization, Mesopotamian civilization also started near the river. Many civilizations originate near rivers because the rich soil and water supply help cultivate food, and the river acts as a means of transportation. Mesopotamian civilization started around 12,000 BCE. They're well known for their innovation and use of art, technology, and literature. These civilizations include Akkadian, Babylonian, Assyrian, and Sumerian. Mesopotamian regions can be identified as the eastern part of Syria, Iraq, and most of southeastern Turkey in the modern day. Literature was different from civilization to civilization. Some made pictures on the wall depicting their life and stories, and some made up a language with mostly pictures and carved them onto stone. While the forms of conveying might be different, the ancient conversation people had with us through these stones and walls is priceless. These lifeless things tell us the story of people who lived and witnessed the time we couldn't. These walls talk about the lifestyle of ancient people, their beliefs and practices, events that changed the course of their life, and much more. Literature was used to document calculations, legal agreements, day-to-day life, biographies of rulers, bookkeeping, etc. In some civilizations, literature was accessible to all, but in others, it was reserved for the privileged people, and Mesopotamian civilization was one of them. Literature in Mesopotamian civilization wasn't popular. Only a few elite, almost all men, had access to undergo training, and once they completed the training, they were called the scribes. It is said that they mostly looked at other citizens with contempt. 5,000 years ago, a clay tablet with some of the oldest writing was discovered in modern-day southern Iraq. Iraq was a rich Mesopotamian city called Uruk, and scholars call it the birthplace of written clay tablets. A basic form of writing was developed in Uruk that later evolved into cuneiforms around 3000 BC. Cuneiform is an ancient writing approach that was developed by Sumerians. Sumer is known as the cradle of the world's civilization. Start and evolution of cuneiforms. What started as a pictographic representation later evolved into writing that represents sounds phonetically. Uruk had a complex economy, so these clay tablets were used for bookkeeping. The cult vase discovered showed the financial hierarchy of Uruk. It describes the ruler who was at the top of the hierarchy. Scribes and their apprentices were below the rulers. They acted as per the orders of the temple and palace. Uruk mainly consists of two parts: the White Temple, Kaluba, and Inanna. The Kaluba was surrounded by all the writings, and from here, the writings that can give insight into Mesopotamian civilization were discovered. Gilgamesh built the world surrounding Inanna. Children were taught to write in cuneiform in schools because some parts were even discovered in Turkey, Israel, and Syria. The story of Gilgamesh was repeated many times and was regarded as one of the greatest cuneiform works. Inanna was a commercial hub. As you can expect in any commercial hub, it was a home for metal shops, pottery, etc. So the tablets were used as commercial receipts, bookkeeping, and many more. Scribes and their apprentices were the only people who knew cuneiforms. They were acting on orders from the palace. The scribes would write the trade receipts or inventory lists on the tablets using cuneiforms in order to keep records. These clay tablets were also used to record crucial and confidential documents such as military affairs, legal documents such as contracts, etc. The historical significance of these clay tablets is high. This is the world's first form of writing. Before cuneiforms, pictures were used to communicate. These cuneiforms were later spread throughout Mesopotamia and underwent some changes as they spread. For example, Akkadians added syllables to cuneiforms. This led to the initial ambiguity. Then cuneiform spread outside Mesopotamia. The cuneiforms continued to be used until Christ, even after the decline of Akkadians. Then cuneiform spread and served a universal purpose. It was modified as it spread through neighboring civilizations such as Persia, Babylon, Akkadian, and others. Ashurbanipal and the world's oldest surviving royal library. Ashurbanipal, also known as the King of the Universe, is one of the greatest last kings of Assyrian civilization. He inherited the throne from his father, Esarhaddon. It came as a surprise because Ashurbanipal was not the oldest son of Esarhaddon. He was the second oldest. The oldest son was Shamash-shum-ukin. Selecting Ashurbanipal over Shamash-shum-ukin was not expected, as it was the norm for the eldest son to be the heir after the death of the father. Esarhaddon wanted to avoid any conflicts in the future, so he appointed Shamash-shum-ukin as the ruler of Babylon. This move resolved the huge conflict that might have destroyed the empire. Ashurbanipal's reign as a king of Assyria was 38 years long and one of the longest reigns in Assyrian history. He's history's most misunderstood character and proclaimed himself as the guardian and protector of Babylonian civilization. He spent most of his early reign fighting against the Egyptian rebels. He received scribal training from Balasai, a senior royal scholar, and wrote the earliest book of curses, where he wrote curses to deter thieves from the library he created. He's responsible for the royal library, which housed over 20,000 Assyrian tablets and fragments which are now preserved in the British Museum. Historians' favorite sociopathic bookworm established the royal library that is, to this day, the world's oldest surviving royal library. It was discovered by archaeologist explorer Austin Henry Laird in 1849. The majority of these texts were descriptions of daily observations of people. They were about the behavior of humans and animals and the motion of celestial bodies like the sun and moon. These tablets were collected from the palace and temples of Ashur, Kala, and Nineveh and were protected in the library in Nineveh itself. These tablets reflected the thought process of the ancient people of Mesopotamia. The curses written by Ashurbanipal were a major part of this library. They were later preserved and were also used to identify his property. The first systematically collected and organized library was Ashurbanipal's contribution. This library consists of 30,000 clay tablets covered in fine writing pressed together. These tablets are from the 7th century BC. The context in many languages was also discovered. Much of these works describe the knowledge of Ashurbanipal on the Assyrian Empire, the importance of education to his kingdom, the power he possessed, etc. All of these factors made Assyrian a magnificent and interesting region. Ashurbanipal's library consists of 660 tablets to this day relating to medicine. Literature is the bridge between civilizations. It tells us the stories of people who lived thousands of years ago, help us learn from their mistakes, and fall in love with the art and science we never saw. That is the power of literature. It's one of the greatest gifts for humankind. We have to use this gift to leave behind a legacy and learn from the legacy left for us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such videos, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.